Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to call to order this special meeting of the Urbana City Council. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu,
Here.
Ms. Lout, Ms. Hersey,
Here.
Mr. Brown,
Here.
Mr. Roberts, Mr. Colebrook,
Here.
Mr. Miller,
Here.
Mayor Marlin.
Here. Next item on the agenda is public input. Does anyone wish to address this special meeting of the Urbana City Council? Okay, you see no hands raised. All right, we have one item on the agenda, and that's ordinance number 2020-10-052, which is an ordinance settling dispute over post-judgment interest due on the Carl Foundation litigation. Jim, do you want to give a brief synopsis here?
Sure. In January, the trial of the Carl property tax exemption litigation concluded, and a judgment was entered, unfortunately, in favor of Carl. The Code of Civil Procedure and the property tax code provide that interest runs on judgments at a starting at a certain point in time. Under the civil code of civil procedure, it runs at 6%. The problem is that the time for when the interest starts to run is different between the two statutes. The city tendered its judgment. Well, it starts to run if the judgment isn't tendered by a certain, or the judgment amount isn't tendered by a certain amount. The judge specifically ordered that the parties return or tender the taxes they had collected during the period of the litigation and before on the properties in question to the county treasurer, who would then remit it on to Carl. The city did tender its part of the judgment, return the taxes. As you all probably recall, those taxes had been held in a separate account, or at least segregated, and were not spent. So we tendered the amount that we were required in order to pay to the treasurer. The treasurer, for some reason, the county for some reason, delayed in forwarding those amounts on to Carl, and interest started to accrue. The county came to us and said, well, we have to pay interest because the judgment wasn't paid to Carl in time, and we said it was. We followed the judge's order exactly. The same is true for the township. And so we don't we don't owe any interest. It's the county who failed to deliver the interest or the judgment amount, the taxes, return the taxes by the required date. So the county went back and forth with the defendants, and ultimately, rather than litigating the dispute, they made an offer, and that we would pay a certain amount, and that they would reduce what they were seeking to recover from us. They had paid the interest, or were going to pay the interest. So what you are being asked to approve is a settlement between the city and the county. It has nothing to do with Carl itself, but a settlement in terms of what we have to reimburse or pay over to the city. Determination was thought appropriate between Fred Grosser, myself, Mayor Marlin, Carol Mitten, and Elizabeth Hannon, that settling this would be less expensive than trying to litigate it, go back to the trial court to litigate this, all the while the actual underlying appeal of the Carl case is pending. So that is the recommendation, that you approve the settlement. Just so you know, I have settled many, many, many cases since I've been here without having to go to the city council. But the mayor thought it was very appropriate that you be brought into the loop on this one, because you've been following and been involved in following the Carl case for these many years.
And for the record, the original post-judgment interest that was sought was $19,539.08, and it's been reduced to $10,746.49. Sharice? Jared? Can you unmute yourself, Sharice? Thank you.
So basically, we're paying the county money for their mistake.
That's our contention. The county, it depends on which statute you apply. We believe the statute in the property tax code, which gives 60 days to return the taxes that are due, applies, and we tendered the judgment, the taxes, back to the county within that time frame. The county contends that the provision in the Code of Civil Procedure, which requires payment of a judgment, be done within 30 days of entry of the judgment. I don't believe we did pay the taxes back within that time frame. Part of the question is that Code of Civil Procedure provision is a general provision that relates to judgments generally, regardless of the kind of litigation you're involved with. The property tax code provision relates to refunding taxes when you're ordered to do so, relating to property taxes. It's a more specific statute, and legislative interpretation provides that the more specific statute applies. County wouldn't buy it. We wouldn't buy the county's position, and ultimately they made an offer to settle, and at least among those of us who, are part of this recommendation to you, thought, including Mayor Marlin, thought that this was a prudent way of getting that issue past us so we can concentrate more on the appeal.
How was it worded in the judgment, in the document? Was it worded as returning said tax, refunding taxes due, or was it judgment, the city of Urbana will pay this amount of money?
What it provided is that the city of Urbana will refund to Carl X number of dollars, whatever, is $2 million and some odd dollars.
Mm-hmm.
The mayor probably has a closer estimate of that number, or the actual number, and that the taxes will be tendered to the county. All the defendants that were supposed to refund taxes were to tender them to the county, and then the county would tender them back to Carl. Why the judge didn't order us and the other defendants to tender them directly to Carl rather than through the county, I can't tell you, other than so the county can record and make sure that the taxes have been paid.
Ultimately, Carl gets the post-judgment interest plus the refund of the property taxes. And this is similar to what you approved last week for the township settlement.
Mm-hmm. I know. I just want to have a better understanding of the simple fact that regarding the statutes, and I wanted to understand that if the language within the judgment itself, within what the judge ordered, so the language said that we were paying back taxes.
Yes.
Okay.
Taxes, yes.
All right. Okay. So,
Ergo, our position that the property tax code section dealing with, the time by which refunds must be made, 60 days, applies.
so then maybe the judge should have been more specific himself. Okay.
I'll leave that one alone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Jared, you had a question?
Yeah, I know that this has always been involved with township. Do you guys know what township has felt about this particular issue with the interest in settling and giving it to the county because the county screwed up?
Last week the town board approved the settlement as well.
Well, I meant just recently from Danielle and Wayne. Did we hear anything about that from them?
Yes, last week.
Okay, I guess I just
That's
don't
what the
recall
town,
what they said.
the town board voted to approve that last week upon the recommendation of township supervisor.
I can tell you that the discussions and the advocacy, between Fred Grosser and Joel Fletcher in the state's attorney's office, as well as consultation with the mayor, Carol Mitten, Elizabeth Hannon, and myself. That went on, and I think the mayor will correct me if I'm wrong, a number of months. This was not, they just tossed out a number and we said, okay. We went back and forth with them even before we would even consider any kind of a settlement because we felt very strong in our position.
So one other question with regard to procedure, Jim, you said that, you've settled many things that don't come to council. So is our making an ordinance about this is this more like a discussion item? Even if we said we didn't want to as council, you could still settle, even if we said we didn't like that idea?
Theoretically, yes, but that's up to on this one, that's up to the mayor. I'm not required to submit settlements to the council in just general litigation, slip, fall, other kinds of litigation that we deal with on a regular basis.
Okay, I just making sure I understand what our position is with this, because it seemed like that was the case, and I just wanted to make sure that we're getting an opinion from us, but not really binding in the final decision. Thanks.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2020-10-052, an ordinance settling dispute over post-judgment interest due on the Carl Foundation litigation.
And I'll second that.
Further discussion? Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu,
Yes.
Ms. Hersey,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Colebrook,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
That motion passes. With no further business before this special meeting, this meeting is adjourned.